Before you scroll, listen to this carefully because this is not for everyone. This is for the person who has felt a strange pull they could never explain, the kind that shows up late at night, the kind that returns when the room is quiet and the mind has nowhere left to run. Somewhere tonight, someone younger than you is thinking about you again. Not for a second, not as a passing thought. I mean in that deep and restless way that keeps circling back no matter how hard they try to stay distracted. They remember your voice, your silence, the look in your eyes when you were pretending to be fine. And what unsettles them most is this. They did not expect you to matter this much. Stay with me, because this only gets deeper. What they feel is not just attraction. It is not a light crush that fades by next week. It is something quieter, stronger, the kind of feeling that slips under the skin and lives there. They may not say a word, they may act normal, they may even act cold, but inside, your energy keeps showing up in the small hours, in the pauses, in the spaces between everything else. And if you have been sensing something in your chest lately, something hard to name, there may be a reason for that. Because some people do not enter our lives to be casual memories. They enter to disturb the heart, awaken the hidden parts, and leave a mark that sleep cannot erase. So keep listening. What I am about to say might explain more than you expected. The night is honest with people who are quietly in love. When the noise of the world fades and no one is watching them act strong anymore, the truth they hide during the day starts rising to the surface. That is when they feel you the most. That is when your memory gets loud. While you are trying to move on, trying to stay busy, trying to tell yourself that certain feelings are only in your imagination, this younger person is replaying you in their mind again. Not casually, not by accident, in the kind of way that keeps returning, even after they try to bury it. They replay your voice more than they would ever admit. They remember tiny details about you that most people would miss completely. The way your energy shifts when you are tired. The way your silence says more than words ever could. The calm you carry even when you are breaking inside. And what confuses them is that they never planned for this. They never expected to feel such a deep connection with someone like you, someone who sees through people without even trying, because this did not start with surface attraction. It started with recognition, real recognition, and that is exactly why it keeps haunting them at night. Watch closely, because this is where most people misunderstand the whole thing. People are not shaken by easy connections. They are shaken by the ones that wake up something unfinished inside them. And somewhere inside this person, you touched a place they were not ready to face. There is something almost dangerous about being understood by someone who carries emotional maturity. Younger hearts often do not realize how starved they are for safety until they meet someone whose presence feels steady, deep, and real without any performance. Most of the people they knew before were loud, inconsistent, attention-hungry, or afraid of true closeness. Then they met you, and something inside them became quiet for the first time in a very long time. Not because you were flawless, not because you were trying to impress them, but because your presence felt real. And realness is rare now. That kind of honesty shakes people. It pulls them in before they even know what is happening. The strange part is that they probably fought it at first. They may have pulled back. They may have acted distant, confusing, guarded, or hard to read. But distance does not always mean there are no feelings. Sometimes it means the feelings became too strong to manage, especially for someone younger who is still learning their own inner world. They do not always know how to hold intense emotion. They do not always know how to speak it. So instead, they hide, they stall, they disappear for a while and then return with that same strange pull still alive inside them. If that sounds familiar, keep going, because this pattern has meaning. You awakened something deep in them. Maybe it was your calmness. Maybe it was the pain behind your eyes that you never explained. Maybe it was the way you carried both strength and sadness at once, without asking anyone to rescue you. That combination is powerful. It affects people more than they let on. Around you, they felt exposed without being judged. They felt emotionally seen without having to perform. And that can be terrifying for someone who is used to shallow excitement instead of real connection. Younger people often mistake emotional intensity for temporary thrill. But what they feel for you is not the loud kind that burns hot and disappears. It is the quiet kind, the slow kind, the kind that moves into the subconscious and starts appearing in ordinary moments without permission. They think about you when music is playing late at night and the room feels too still. They think about you in crowded places when everyone else suddenly feels emotionally empty. They think about you while talking to someone attractive and realizing the emotional spark is still missing. That comparison hurts them more than they admit, because no matter how hard they try to move on, your energy returns again and again. This is what unresolved connection does. It keeps knocking. It keeps resurfacing. A song reminds them of your presence. A phrase reminds them of something you once said. A lonely moment brings your face into their mind with no warning at all. And in those late hours when they can no longer run from honesty, they admit something to themselves they rarely say out loud. No one has made me feel the way this person did. That thought changes people. It changes the way they see love, attraction, and themselves. So if you have ever felt a connection that stayed alive in silence, then you already know this is not something light. There is another reason this attachment became so intense. You did not chase them the way others did. You did not push. You did not beg for attention. You did not force your place in their life. And strangely, that restraint made them think about you even more. Self-control creates fascination in people who are used to chaos. Your silence made them curious. Your distance made them wonder. Your emotional depth made them feel safe and exposed at the same time. And for someone who has spent years hiding from their real feelings, that kind of exposure can become addictive. What hurts them most is realizing that you affected them without trying. That is what keeps them awake, because accidental impact is stronger than planned seduction. You touched parts of them no one else reached naturally. You made them feel something beyond attention, beyond flirtation, beyond the usual games people play. And now, even when they fill their life with noise, work, conversations, temporary affection, or endless scrolling, part of them still circles back to you. There are moments when they almost message you, moments when they type something and erase it, moments when they stare at your photos longer than they should, moments when they tell themselves it is over, only to feel your memory return the second the lights go out. If this feels intense, good, it should. Because that is how these hidden attachments work. They do not fade just because someone wants them to. They fade only when the truth is faced. And right now, the truth is still living in silence, growing stronger each night it goes unspoken. Sometimes they do not even know how to express what this is. Their feelings leak out in strange ways, in long stares. In jealousy, they pretend not to feel. In random disappearances followed by sudden returns. In silent visits to your social media. In remembering things you forgot you even mentioned. In tension that hangs between you without either person naming it. Because what they feel sits deeper than easy language. It is not simple. It is not neat. It is not always mature. Every night when their guard drops, the truth comes back. They miss you. They wonder about you. They imagine what would happen if they finally said everything honestly. And at the same time, fear steps in. Fear of rejection, fear of looking weak, fear of losing control, fear of finding out that what they feel is not returned in the way they hoped, so they stay quiet. But silence does not kill attachment. It feeds it. The mind becomes obsessed with what it cannot resolve. That is why unanswered tension grows louder in the dark. That is why they replay your conversations. That is why they imagine scenes where they finally tell you the truth. That is why they wonder whether you feel this too, and maybe part of you does. Maybe that is why this feels personal. Sometimes intuition notices emotional energy before logic can explain it. Sometimes you think of someone suddenly because they have been carrying you in their mind for days. Sometimes you feel a pull with no proof, no message, no clear reason. Yet the feeling is still there. Quiet, steady, hard to ignore. And some of the strongest connections in life begin exactly like that. Without labels, without timing, without easy explanation. There is also something else that draws younger people toward older souls, and it has very little to do with age itself. It is the energy, the steadiness, the wisdom that came through pain, the calm that was earned the hard way. People who have suffered deeply but stayed kind carry a rare kind of presence. It is powerful without trying to be. A younger person can feel that immediately. They may notice how much you hide. They may sense the loneliness you never talk about. They may see that behind your strength there is also exhaustion, and instead of pushing them away, that truth pulls them closer, not in a shallow way, in a soul-level way, because kindness after pain feels sacred, it feels uncommon, it feels real. That is why your existence interrupted their normal patterns. You became meaningful in a world that often feels fake, rushed, and emotionally thin. And once someone meaningful enters the subconscious, forgetting them becomes hard, almost impossible sometimes. Still, this can confuse you too, because one moment they seem close, and the next they act far away. One moment their eyes reveal everything, and the next their actions say nothing. That contradiction can make you question yourself, but do not rush to call it imaginary. Emotionally immature people often retreat the moment things begin to feel too real, especially someone younger who has not yet learned how to stay present inside deep emotion. They fear vulnerability because vulnerability takes away control, and control feels safe to them. But real attachment has never been about staying fully safe. It shakes the ego. It pulls hidden wounds to the surface. It asks people to face what they would rather avoid. That is why the connection can feel confusing before it feels clear. On the inside, they are fighting a quiet battle almost every night. Part of them wants freedom from these feelings. Part of them does not want to let you go at all. Part of them wants to forget. Part of them secretly hopes you still think about them too. And maybe this hits so hard because you know what emotional invisibility feels like. Maybe people noticed how you looked but never understood what you carried. Maybe they admired the outside and missed the depth completely. Maybe life taught you to be careful with your heart, careful with trust, careful with showing too much. So you became strong, independent, composed. Not always because you wanted to, but because you had to. That kind of loneliness changes a person. It teaches you to survive without reassurance. It teaches you to smile while carrying storms inside. It teaches you how to stay calm while pain quietly echoes in the background. And this younger person senses that in you, even if they cannot explain it. They are not only drawn to your face or your voice or your style, they are drawn to your emotional energy, to the part of you that survived disappointment without turning cold, to the quiet intelligence that pain gave you, to the warmth you still offer despite everything that tried to harden you. That kind of presence is unforgettable, especially to someone living in a time where so much feels temporary. So when they think about you at night, they are not just remembering a person, they are returning to a feeling they have not found anywhere else. And that is what changes them. You awakened something. You made them realize that emotional intimacy is stronger than short-lived excitement. You showed them that being truly seen can hit deeper than being desired. Once someone experiences that kind of recognition, ordinary attention starts to feel empty. The usual connections stop satisfying them in the same way. That is why they keep returning to you in their mind. Not because they are weak, not because they are foolish, but because your connection became symbolic. You now represent safety, truth, mystery, longing, healing, desire, and understanding all at once. And the human mind holds on tightly to symbols that carry emotional meaning. That is why they may stare at your pictures too long. That is why they may write a message and never send it. That is why they may wonder whether reaching out would change everything or ruin everything. That ache is hard to escape once it starts. But listen carefully here, because this part matters. Do not lower your worth just to get certainty from someone who is still confused. Even if their feelings are real, feelings alone are not enough. Truth still needs courage. Honesty still needs action. Love still needs presence. It is not your job to rescue someone from their own fear. It is not your job to translate silence forever. Your role is to stay aligned with your own value. Because deep down, you already know that real love should not require you to abandon yourself. The right connection will move toward honesty, not endless guessing. It will move toward clarity, not constant confusion. It will move toward openness, not permanent hiding. Still, some bonds take time. Some people have to grow before they can hold what they feel. And maybe tonight, while you are hearing these words, that younger person is somewhere in the dark replaying memories of you again, wondering whether you ever sensed the truth, wondering whether your silence meant disinterest or caution, wondering whether there was a reason you entered their life when you did. Because some people do not arrive to entertain us, they arrive to transform us. You may never fully know how deeply your presence affected them, how many nights your memory became both comfort and pain, how often your energy pulled them out of emotional emptiness for a moment, how many times they almost reached out and stopped themselves at the last second. Stay with me, because this next part matters more than people realize. The deepest impact we have on others is often the one we never planned to make. A single conversation, a brief season, a shared silence, a look that said more than words. These things can stay in someone's heart for years. And while the outside world may never see it, the inner world remembers everything. It remembers who made it feel calm. It remembers who made it feel understood. It remembers who made it feel less alone. That is why some connections live far beyond their visible timeline. They keep breathing under the surface. They keep shaping choices, comparisons, long nights, and unspoken wishes. So if someone younger still thinks about you, it is likely because something in them changed after meeting you, and they have not fully found their way back to who they were before. Maybe that is why this message feels so personal. Part of you already knew. Part of you felt that strange emotional thread, even without proof, because not everything important announces itself loudly. Some truths move in silence. Some attachments reveal themselves in hesitation, in timing, in energy, in the way two people keep crossing each other's thoughts long after the moment should have passed. And there is something else worth saying here. Sometimes the younger person is not only thinking about you with desire, sometimes they are thinking about the version of themselves they became around you, more open, more awake, more honest, more vulnerable than they were ready to be. That can make a person pull away just as fast as they were pulled in, not because the connection was false, but because it was too revealing, too real, too close to the truth they had been avoiding. That is why they may swing between warmth and distance, between bold energy and complete silence, between wanting to come closer and wanting to disappear. It is not always a game. Sometimes it is fear wearing the mask of control. And yes, that can hurt. It can leave you feeling confused, heavy, even foolish for sensing something that was never fully spoken. But your sensitivity is not foolish. Your intuition is not weak. If something in them kept reaching toward you, there was a reason. The important thing is not to lose yourself trying to decode every mixed signal. Let their actions tell the story when words do not. Let time reveal what fear keeps hiding. And remember this: a connection can be real and still not be ready. That truth is painful, but it is also freeing. So protect your heart, but do not close it. Trust what you feel, but do not force an ending or a beginning that has not arrived yet. If this person is truly carrying you in their thoughts night after night, eventually life will ask them to choose between hiding and honesty. Everyone reaches that point. Everyone gets tired of running from what feels true. And if that day comes, let it come naturally. Let it come with clarity. Let it come with courage, not crumbs. Until then, keep your peace, keep your standards, keep your sense of self, because your value does not rise and fall with someone else's ability to express their feelings. You are not here to beg for recognition from someone whose heart is still learning how to speak. You are here to remain whole, even in uncertainty, and maybe that is the real reason your presence affects people so deeply. You carry depth without noise, warmth without desperation, mystery without manipulation, strength without cruelty. In a world full of people trying to be noticed, you leave an impression by simply being real. And real people are rare. That is why they cannot stop thinking about you. That is why your memory returns when the night gets honest. That is why your silence can feel louder than anyone else's words. If this touched something hidden in you, then you already understand more than most. Some truths do not need to be shouted to be real. Some connections do not need a label to leave a permanent mark. And somewhere tonight, while the world sleeps and the mind starts telling the truth, someone younger is still carrying your energy through another restless night, still trying to name what they feel and still wondering if one day they will finally have the courage to stop hiding from it.